Aloha and good morning, everyone. Futures market, as of me making this video, is currently down right around 0.25% across the board as the futures market continues to price in the circus show that is the current administration that we have here in the United States of America. So, with the recent geopolitical insanity, on top of an earnings season that we're currently in the middle of, on top of a market that's very extended from its 200-day moving averages, with the RSI 14 and MACD oscillators rolling over on every index, on top of us coming up into February, which is historically, seasonally, at least since 1950 on the S&P 500, the fourth worst month of the year. It's a month of the year where the index normally finishes lower from start to finish. So now is definitely the time to be careful and to raise caution. Make sure your stops are exactly where you want them to be. You'll see tonight I had a handful of partial sell signals, a handful of full sell signals in high quality names. And not only that, there's a lot of stocks that while the sell-off wasn't terrible, it was large enough with either the stocks pulling back on above average volume that I needed to raise stops on a lot of positions. And at the same time, a lot of positions didn't need to touch at all. They look completely fine. So it'll be all about today for everybody watching this video, for me tomorrow, is how we react to the sell-off on Monday. A follow through. I'll be 100% certain that we're going to retest the 50-day moving average on the NASDAQ 100. S&P 500 is definitely going to probably want to test those late December lows. Same with the Dow Jones Industrial Average. I would say that it's going to want to get to that big, large move in December lows if we continue to sell off here. I think these lows will be taken out if we take out the lows here in the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So bottom line, time to exercise caution. So on that note, I'm going to be looking to add hedges when hedge signals trigger this evening. The volatility index, TVIX, UVXY, were looking like they were going to produce actionable signals by the close. Those signals negated themselves, so there's no hedges. And at the same time, just because the market's pulling back, I'm not going to be terrified of new long signals, but I'm going to go ahead and reduce size. So if something's can slim, it was 2.5%. If something's perfect speculator scan quality, it was 2.5%. They're now 2% signals. So the first new long position, STRA, comes from one of my perfect speculator scans. Very nice pocket pivot point signal here near the 50-day moving average. My first cut loss level is going to be 80.03, the low day of Monday. And my final cut loss level is going to be 78.20. So it closes below 78.20, I'll be completely out. My limit's going to be at 82.62. 2% of my account capital only. Sorry. It's just not a market where I want to push it. Like I said, RSI indicators and MACD indicators are re-rolling over on all of the indexes. Combine that with everything that I've told you that we need. And don't forget, very bullish sentiment still in the Investors Intelligence Survey. We're still near 60% bulls and only 17% bears. That's not what a good rally normally will have for that contrarian aspect behind it. Along with that, NAIIM says that the exposure index is near 100%. That doesn't sound very bearish to me. So STRA, 2% only. Then also, I got a very nice add signal in FSBW. I believe my long signal was back here. It's held up very nicely while the market was hitting new highs last week. Granted, it wasn't hitting new highs, but BOP remained very strong. Low volume on the pullback. Now appears to be re-rounding out, breaking out a nice little surge in BOP as it's been growing steadily over the past 5 sessions. Nice volume today and a nice breakout basically above like a little triangle consolidation pattern right here, doing this little thing right here. So it's breaking out above that little triangle. Looks good overall. Very, very nice. It's a can slim quality stock. Not confirmed in any other scan. Would have been the price volume BOP surge scan, but it's too thin. So 1% add of my 1% account capital add to my current position. FSBW. I'll be buying it with a limit at 35.75. My first cut loss level will be 34.91 on a closing basis and 34.10 on a closing basis. I once again do not hold sell stops on the books and small cap regional bank stocks. And that goes for any of them. EGBN, the recent long, CACB, the recent long, BWFG, the recent long, and now FSBW. None of these get hard stops on the book. And then also I had a really good oversold RSI swing trade signal today. MNI, it's almost candle over candle. And by candle over candle, I mean that it's going to close above 1194, 1208. But it's beginning to do the candle over candle move. RSI just moved below 30 here. It's now coming back above the oversold condition. On top of that, the MACD is starting to try to curl higher. Not shown here, obviously. If you go to stockcharts.com, you can look at the RSI and the MACD. You'll see that they're both curling, with RSI curling out of oversold condition and MACD curling off the lows. As you can see, it's also finding support around this $11 area. That's very strong here, going back to the April, May, June kind of support area before it broke out in June on strong volume with a lot of green bop. And if you notice this pullback here, not a whole lot of selling volume as it pulled back, and even better, no red bop. And during this last leg of the sell-off, very strong bop overall with a lot of green bop. And as you can see, the green bop is growing as price comes down and more accumulation comes in the stock. So MNI, 0.25% of my personal account capital, a little over a few $1,000s into that one, using 1171 as my limit order. If it's strong in the morning, I might use 1172 because I don't want this one to get away from me. And then my cut loss will, and the only cut loss, is at 1111. So it moves below 1111, I'm out. But this has been one of my more favorite oversold RSI signals in a long time. Granted, we're only looking at profit target areas of like 1387, 1460, 1584, and then maybe 19, which isn't huge for a potential move from an oversold RSI play. But the setup overall on this longer term daily chart going back to the beginning of the year, and then more up close looking at since late summer, it's just one of the better setups I've seen in a long time. All right, everybody, good luck on Tuesday. Hopefully we can find a floor and rally. Like I said, I don't want to see us follow through with the selling, closing below the low of day of Monday session. So I want to see us hold those lows. If we close or move below the lows, the 50-day moving average on the NASDAQ's in play. Dow Jones Industrial Average, we're looking at this low here on that big bar move. And on the S&P 500, I'm looking at these late December support levels to hopefully we can find a floor around those levels if we do break, but hopefully we'll move higher. Anyway, I'll see you in the chat room. Aloha.